Okay, good morning, everybody. So, I don't know. I don't know where to start, but I want to start with like just the simple thing, guys. What should be like? I'm starting this in the beginning of the year because I want you guys to all sit and kind of have like, what is your goal for 2020? I'm not talking money wise. Like, I don't want you to set a goal, but what is your overall goal of 2025? Do you want to be like, you want to be consistent? I think that's the best goal you should have, is trying to be consistent for this year. Forget the gains, forget how much you make, forget all that. But I think the main goal for you, if you haven't been profitable yet since last year, to be consistently profitable. And by being consistent profitable means that you need to try to be profitable as much as you can. So you should have more win rates, bigger wins, smaller losses, and be picky with the stocks you do. Don't be jumping in every stock you go, every stock you see going, just jump on it. Be like more picky, you know. Wait for the stocks. Trust your instincts, trust what you see. Don't just follow me, follow yourself, follow what you see. We have good examples. I hope Sharer would do it this year, that he follow his guts and start jumping in these stocks that he sees. But just that should be your main goal for this year, is just trying to be very consistent with your wins and your win rate. Okay, I don't care about the percentages wise. I don't care if somebody tells you, oh, my win rate is 90%, 80%. I never look at that stuff. I stopped looking at it years ago. My main thing is that my wins are more than my losses, and my losses, I keep them small as possible, and my wins as big as possible. I scale out, and when I take my loss, I just take it, don't look back, and I'm done. Don't average down, stop with the average down, stop holding the losses, and that should be the first thing you do this year, in my opinion. Other than that, everything else we already spoke about for a whole year, about setting goals and your daily goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, and all that good stuff. I don't want to miss opportunities, do better at finding those stocks that move. Yeah, well, again, everybody finds, again, you need to find your niche here, which it's the main thing I speak of every single day, is that you need to find what works for you. If following these stocks or playing these quick scallops in and out for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents quick, or whatever, $1, $2, depending how fast it moves, if that's your style, go for it. Ed is a good example of that. So just find your niche. So that's going to be the main thing. But finding your niche means that you zone in on being consistent. And to being consistent, this means you found your niche. So you're not going to be consistent if you didn't find already your niche. So finding what works for you first is the main thing. Once you find what works for you, you need to be honing on this strategy and just trying to get the max wins out of it. Don't keep changing your strategy as you go over. And if you didn't find your strategy, then you need to keep trying to define what works for you. And by works for you, I think people look at it the wrong way. I think you need to be more concentrated on what emotionally works for you, not money-wise, because everybody looks at trading as money-wise, and I think it's more than money. It's more of controlling emotions. So finding the best setup would be finding what works for you, and you be emotionally in control of your trade. And that's the niche you're trying to find. So to be consistent, this means you found a spot that you're comfortable holding through the pumps and dumps and scaling out nicely, or doing whatever you do. But that puts you in a nice emotional state that you are in full control. Because once you get in a trade and you lose control, you do not make right decisions. And that's how you end up being big losses, or holding through a big drop, or just keep saying to yourself, it's coming back, or I'm going to average down here, or I'm going to do all these stupid things that you do. You don't think of it. That's all your emotions kicking in, and your brain kind of freezes here. So that's what you need to find, is your sweet spot. Like, I know my sweet spot. I trade specific stocks that I like the most. They fit my patterns. They fit everything for me, and they have good news. Slow movers, I prefer not slow. I don't mind playing the pump and dumps. I don't mind playing the low floats, but there is a pattern that I look for, especially in stocks, which is like the pattern of going up a little bit, pulling back, going up, pulling back, and it just continues going slowly. A good example would be CRNC. KITT was also a good one. I didn't play it myself, but that was a good one also. But CRNC was a good example of this play, and these are like my kind of favorite plays, these ones. But I'm okay playing different ones, but again, emotions here, guys. Check your emotions all the time. You will 100% miss some opportunities simply because there is too many every day. Yeah, again, we said this through the year, how many times that we don't chase 1,000%er or 500%er or whatever, because we'll just get the next one or the next one or the next one. There is a million of them. You guys been together for over a year now, and you just ask yourself, how many 1,000%ers did we see? How many 500? How many 200 we see? We see like 3-4 a day. So miss one, miss 10, miss 100. You have a whole year to trade. So there is no rush. Don't get yourself to be chasing stocks. You guys see me, I sit here every day. Sometimes I don't trade, I don't chase. Sometimes I do here and there, but 99.9% I don't chase. I'll wait. If I'm not in the stock, just let it go. It's fine. I'll watch it, have fun, laugh, and just forget about it. So just don't be jumping in a stock without knowing. And again, like I always say, don't be the first one to jump in a stock unless you know what you're doing. But if you don't, then give yourself that minute to look at the chart, look at the news, and that gives you a minute to kind of like rethink your entry and exit and your whole trade plan as a whole before jumping in. But if you're good at jumping in, like Ed does, or Gregster does, actually, so, but they know what they're doing. If that's your strategy, that's what you're good at, then do it. But this means you have to be quick in, quick out. If the stock goes against you, you're out right away. So it's not made for people that want to take it slow or rethink about it or enter a stock and then think where they're going. And that's why you see me when the news comes out, I kind of take a minute to read the news, look at the chart real quick, and that kind of, let me see what the stock is going to do in that minute. And I'm okay if I lose the first minute or two of a stock. If the stock is going to run, it is going to continue running. I don't think people like take that you have to be in the stock the first one, which is not the case. Same like with this guy on the scanners on YouTube was asking that there is an edge. There is no edge of getting a 30-second delay of the scanners. These 30 seconds will not really, if the stock is going to go, 30-second difference will not be a killer for the trade. So you can wait a minute or two. That's 2 minutes. That's 2 bars or even 3 bars in a whole day of trading. You're talking hours of trading. So in CRNC, if you miss the first minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, even 10 minutes, you still had the opportunity of the whole day to get in. So getting in the first candle or second candle, if it's not your style, if you're not a scalper for these quick 1-2 minute plays, then don't do it. Take your time to get in, take your time to get out. We need the Bloomberg term. Yeah, right. Sure. For me, Bloomberg, man, it's not worth it. It's not something for me. Can be for somebody else, but it's definitely not for me. But yeah. All right, so let's start with your questions, see what you guys have for me. But this, I think, should be the big picture of what your thoughts could be for 2025. So basically, if I put it, so stop chasing, have better goals, stop chasing, and try to be consistent as much as you can. Consistency is the key of being a good day trader. A profitable day trader would be a consistent trader, not how much he makes. Everybody always looks at how much people make. Now, I don't care if you make $10,000, $20,000, $50 a day. I don't care about that. But doing that 50 consistent, it's what adds up. And just people never see this way. People look at the big gains. Oh, I want to make that $30,000 a day, 50,000, 100,000, and these are just dreams. So not everybody can do that. Very specific people that do that, and you have to be in a good state and already know your game to be making these numbers. It's like you're trying to run a marathon when you just started walking. So just everything takes time to make these numbers. If you guys think you're gonna jump in and do what Gregster does or Ross does or anybody else does that you see online, no. So take your time. Year by year, you're gonna see yourself actually taking more risk. Looking at these patterns that I see, like some patterns I see with my own eyes that I've seen a million times, so I'm good with it. Some news I see and I tell you, like, I know this stock or I know this or I know that. It just comes with the time I put in there. This is something you cannot learn in a day or two. No matter how many times you've been sitting here watching me every single day, we sit together for 10, 12 hours every day. No matter how many hours you sit with me every single day, I can't teach you that. That's something you're going to have to take your time to learn it, okay? I mean, if you think why Ross is good at what he does is playing these quick scalps, he's been doing it for many years. His brain is already knowing this. Like, he hears the stock, he knows the stock. Okay, he traded the stock many times. He probably knows how it moves. So this is stuff he learned through the years. It's not just his trading style. It's stuff that he's seen through many years, many trades, many patterns, and his brain sees that stuff. Even unconsciously, you see that stuff. Okay, it's not something you can learn. It's not something I can teach you. It's something you have to put your time to learn. Terminals, IT department, Mendo's. My main goal, more consistent green on day trades, less swings pay for the day trade. Yeah. Yeah, Bloomberg is not for us, man. This is made for fundamentals, man. Like, this is made for institution investors. This is not made for day trading. Not made for your style, definitely not. It's not that kind. This is made for bigger money. People using dark pools, you know, using investor chat, insider info, stuff like way beyond this for retail. Like, again, it's useless, I don't think. Price targets. You're very good at identifying targets for high and setting your sell orders. Can you share how you set your targets? You do us kindness by calling them out, but how can you perform that analysis too? I mean, for me, man, targets have always been, beside the fact that I see them on the charts like this, beside the fact is I always look for spots that look like they had a lot of resistance. For example, we have, if we look here, look at this here. So if we look here, this area looks already, without even anything, I mean, just looking here, even looking back, look at how many times this area here, that 14 and 17, look how many times it's been, especially that 14, look how many times already, and that's on a daily chart. On something on the daily like this means this is a very strong resistance. And it means it's going to be a very strong support as well, but at this time, it is a strong resistance. So I know if this hits, and that's why I told Rosa when we were trading that if we hit 13 to the 14, we're going to go. And that's exactly what happened, because, I mean, it's like a rubber band, you know, you keep extending it, and at some point it's just gonna snap. So it could have easily hit 14 here and went straight down, because it's a heavy resistance at this point, because it was a heavy support. As you see, this was a very strong support, and look how many times, this is a daily here, look how many times, and you look at this, a day, and this is just in this whole year today. Like, this is from what, February? That's a whole maybe 2 months of just testing, and that support kept holding back. Once the, and as you see, once the support broke, look what happened to the stock. So you know for a fact this is a very strong support, and when it broke, the stock just tanked and now became very strong resistance. So you know for a fact that if this breaks, it is just gonna go, and this is exactly what happened. And again, same thing here. This was another area of interest. That's why the 10, once it broke, I was kind of more confident. That's why I wanted this at open to happen before open, because as you see, this was another strong resistance area here at the 10. Kept testing, and then we broke. So that's what I'm kind of looking for when I look at stocks or a price target. When I give you price targets, these are the price targets I'm normally looking for. My eyes normally picks up this stuff very quick, because again, putting time in for many years, I put in this stock market. I see the stuff real quick. It might take you a minute or two to look at it, but it's worth it. And that kind of gives you the initial price targets. So these are my price targets. I'm looking for zones, kind of very strong zones that I know the stock might react to it, that it's going to be important to see. So that's what I want to be looking at in the chart. Again, an important zone. So for me, the zone was between 13 to 14. This was a whole zone here, and let's see what happened. As you see, the stock went to the 13, it kind of kept triggering here, and then it went through it. Okay, we went through it, but the break was, even that was strong, it pulled back right away. So this was a little bit scary, but overall the trend itself did not break, so it kind of still held the trend overall. And the same thing with the 10 area. Look at the 10 area too. Same area that we said earlier. We kept testing, it broke it, and then it tested it but it didn't go under it. And we kept kind of flowing around this area, which was a better opening now. And it happened like I wanted to stay above the 10. A good thing we did. And then we went for it. But as you see, the 14 gave us some trouble in the beginning. But then once it broke, Algos pushed it and we just kept going. So it comes to just knowing the charts, knowing what you're looking for. That's why I don't use indicators. I don't use none of that. As you guys see, I'm always clean because for me, it's all about patterns of what the stock is telling you. Like what happened? Why is this area so strong as a resistance? Or why is this area so strong as support? And you're trying to see these zones if you want to, or want to call them, you know. So that's how I get these targets. Let me know if that's enough, or you want to go through more, or you have different stocks you want to look at that you want me to look for you. The more you study, the more you practice, the more you trade, the better you get. Put in 20 hours a weekend on that. A couple of years actually, credit card debt, roll. Yeah, beside the power of, yeah, Ross also has his power of his followers too. How confident are you to buy in when you see a bullish engulfing candle? Engulfing candles are good and everything, but the problem with algos is that they do these candles a lot. They used to be very important. I used to take them a lot, but with the way algos have been lately, for the past, I would say 2 to 3 years, they've been very extreme. I'm not really going by candle to candle like I used to. Like, yes, I used to see an engulfing candle, I would go for it, either on the bear side or the dodge or whatever. And I just don't anymore, just because the algos are so much in control now that they do these candles all the time. Like, if you see this here, any normal person sees this candle on a 1 minute, you would have been out. I mean, that's almost a death candle right there. But it didn't. I mean, it did. It was just like a normal nothing. And look, this didn't happen once. Look how many times it happened. And look how many times it had. But this time, this was the call this time. So this time, it kind of went for it. So it's not what it used to be anymore, because you don't know. And look, this was a pattern. Look, 1, 2, 3. Any of these normally, all days, you'll be out. You'll be out. You'll be like, okay, this stock is tanking. This is a lot of sellers. It's pushing down. Or, I mean, if you're hearing our big man, he will be like, oh, sellers are stepping in. Oh, this is no good. You know, take your profits. I'm out. But I didn't. I didn't even freak out. I didn't do nothing, because in the end, it's holding the trend. And it didn't break the trend. Even this was a scary. But again, this is what algos do. So I try to look at stocks of more of a bigger, like, I'm looking at the chart of a more, I'm not narrowed on the candles. I used to be more narrowed on the candles, like candle by candle base, but now I look more of the pattern of the stock itself, how it's doing, because algos are just doing crazy stuff all the time now. Like, as long as like this thing here, for me, it was just mostly a trend. Mostly a trend. You didn't really break trends or anything. I wouldn't say it's a clean trend. I mean, you can't really pull a line, but overall you can see like there is a trend right here. Overall, it's holding the 13 anyway, which is a good thing. It never broke the 50, maybe here a little bit, but overall the trend is kind of holding. You can put many trends in here. You can put a trend here if you want to. I mean, it depends, but my eyes actually see a trend, and I'm good with that. So overall, like as you see, that this, I consider this a trend, and you just never broke. So would have did something because of this candle? Not really. I would have waited for the trend to break and actually break. Even here, if you notice, when the trend broke, look at that, the algos kind of held it even so, and we went back. So even that the trend broke and you thought it's done, actually no, it did not. It just kept holding, and we went back to this area where you had these two big ass candles here. Look at this. This is a death candle right there. This is another indication that the stock is done, but it only did a pullback. I mean, it did a massive run, so this was an okay pullback. I mean, we didn't get a single strong pullback since we opened, and that was your pullback at around 12, which is strictly algo time. So algos basically did, and then algos took it back. So I wouldn't put too much on the candles itself like we used to back in the days. I would just be more of the pattern itself and see what the pattern is doing, what level 2 is doing. And again, level 2 for me is now becoming even more important these days because of all this nonsense. I'm trying to figure out if they have flipped on the level 2. I'm looking at the time and sales, trying to understand if it's actually flipped or it's just another pullback or it's more than this. So, but yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with watching these candles, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on the candles itself without the whole pattern of the chart. What is it doing? So I'll be more looking, if this is happening, I'll be looking more at the 5 minutes, or if you want 3 minutes, that would be. But overall, if you notice the 5 minutes, which I was watching most of the time, and the 15, I have it on another. But if you notice the 5 minutes, look at this, just perfect. Even no matter how bad the candles look, overall, it's just a beast. Like nothing for me to get out, like nothing calling me to get out. I'm just scaling out, scaling out, scaling out, scaling out as we go. And I just kept scaling. But there was no emergence. Even in the breakdown, if you see the breakdown, it looked bad on the one, like, and that's the difference between looking at the 1 minute. That's why you should have more, like, if you notice already, and that's my trading windows. And as you see, like I have the 1 and the 5 next to each other, and I already have the 15 on another monitor. So I'm looking at all of these in 1, 5, and 15s. So, and that's why the 1 minute kind of would show you like this is like actually kind of dumping, but overall it wasn't. Even in the pullback, it was kind of a clean pullback. It did like these 2 candles real quick, and it just did not really break down that much. Like it was just a little pullback compared to this move here. So if you know, that's a huge move, and then a very small pullback. I'll consider this a very small, even, yeah, it's a $2 move, but I mean, you came from here. So you did a $12 move and a $2 pullback. So it wasn't even a crazy pullback, but even the pullback was clean and it held right away and it kept going. So I hope that kind of answers your question overall. I know I went more than the 10 candles, but that's my thought process and that's what I look for. But again, nothing wrong with looking at candles to candles wise, but yeah. I saw my targets and the new channel we made stocks kind of is awesome. I hear you. Example, say 230 is a key level. If it breaks the level, it could fly. I use that level for an entry and I can get stopped out almost every time. Well, here's the problem, man. You can't be entering at the key level. Okay, if 14, and this is why. I mean, it's exactly, I mean, we just literally said that, I guess, because I didn't say it that way. But if you notice what happened at the 14, again, if you entered here at the key level, you're screwed. You're screwed. So look what happened. And that shows you that and that's why it was scary here. I mean, yeah, if you weren't like, if you didn't enter early like us, it would have been scary to enter here because you probably got stopped out. Instant. You got in, get out, instant. And that's what people do. People go for the, don't forget, this was a 14 break. So this was a lot of things. This was a $14 break, which is a big break. It's a whole number. So you're breaking a whole number on top of a major resistance. And it's the strongest resistance we have is this one. So you're going through the strongest resistance and it's a key number all at the same time. So expect a major pullback. It can go and it can break right away. So I would never enter here. I would wait either for a pullback or for the stock to keep going. Or at least if it did this, I would wait for a break here. So my entry would be above this here. So somewhere here. And if you notice, this candle happened because probably people jumped in here. And this was another one to take everybody out. Again, this was, I remember this one. Yeah, I remember I was talking with Russ. I think this was the dollar move. Yeah, that's the one that went to 16. Yeah, I remember this. I was saying with Russ, I was like, damn, it just did a dollar move. And this was a dollar move right there. So probably people jumped in here when this happened. So you had this break and then it pulled back again and people added and bam. Because don't forget, some people scallop, their strategy is playing the 50 cent and the whole dollar breaks. So some people just trade of going from 13.50 to 14, from 14 to 14.50. That's, some people play that. So, but would I ever enter here? Never. Because you don't know what's gonna happen. So it is hard to enter at a major breaking point here because you don't know if it's gonna go or it's gonna continue or not. So you have to give it some time. And if you see a pullback like this, then you have to wait for the pullback because this could have been a pullback and it'll be done. This could have been it. The stock is done. This is the max we went to, and the stock just tanked. So you never enter at key points. You either enter really early before the key point test, or you have to wait for the key point to break and stabilize the break, and you see continuation of the move, then you enter. But never enter at key points, never enter at a gap fill, never enter at resistant fill, like never do that. That's why we always wait. And that's why sometimes you see me, I will have my alert above the break that I want. So it will break and then it will go higher than the break, and I'll watch it for a minute or two, see if it actually holds, because I don't want to be. And sometimes I go reckless and I jump in the break, or on the second minute I will see 1 minute and then the second minute is good, I will jump in, and then ends up being only 3 candles and I'll get the third candle and it just takes me down. But most of the time you have to wait for the break to be clean and see that it actually broke. Because this here, what I consider, this is a no break, and I say this all the time. You see me say, okay, the stock didn't go through because this didn't really go through. Even that it went, I mean, we went almost 70 cents, but it pulled back right away. So this was not a clean break. A clean break is a break that goes and continues. That's what a clean break is. This was not a clean break. But then we came back and we slowly took it over. So, but never enter in this specific area. This is the area where you need to put an alert and watch it, and then look for a re-entry above it. You have to see volume continuation, and you have to see the chart continuing. Level 2 is showing you good, time is showing good, then you re-enter. But never enter like specifically right here. Unless you're Grexter or Ross or something that's going for that one candle or 50, 60, 70 cent move with a big size, you're trying to do a quick scalp. Yes, you would enter here, but you will have to be in and out like instant. And that's not something I do anymore, but you could do it. That's the way I would play these areas here, which is be like, go up, down. Same thing if you notice with the penny stocks that go for $1, they always go for $1, sometimes to $1.10, $1.20, and then it tanks instant. It just goes down instant. Most, if you notice the penny stocks we see that go from like 60, 70, or 50 cents and they go for the $1, they will go sometimes for the $1 and they break high and they'll go 1 candle, 2 candles to 110, 115. Either they halt or they don't, and then bam, they tank. Because everybody knows that's what it's supposed to go to, so you won't be jumping in the $1. So it's the same idea. Appreciate that overview on targets. I get the rubber band. Is it good or not? I think I've been too impatient. I'm better looking green, but often miss the greater part of the move. I mean, again, guys, I mean, for a whole year, you guys see me scale out. And my most beautiful days are days like these where I keep just scaling out. I even held this one, and I'm holding a swing now that it's up $10. So scaling out, even if you had 10 shares at this point, I mean, you're up $100. So don't underestimate how much shares you have. Okay, it's still money. So take 90. I mean, I would say people that are afraid of scaling, try to scale even less. So maybe take 70% at your target, 80% at your target, and just hold 20%, you know? And then if it works out, maybe try adding going from 70-20 to maybe 60-40, you know? Or I mean 70-30 to maybe 60-40. After that, maybe 50-50, you know? The more you get to it, but I would start with maybe 90% and hold 10%, run it for a little bit, see if it works out for you. It's not, if it's working, then jump a little bit more, you know, start taking maybe 75-25, start playing with the numbers until you find this comfort zone for you. For me, again, I try to scale out anywhere between 30 to 50%, something in this range is always my first scale out, and then I hold the 50, and I'm okay with that. I hold the 50. Maybe sometimes if the stock is too risky, I might hold only 40 or 30% of my position, but I tried the first scale out to be at least between 30 to 50%. That's my usual scale out, is anywhere between 30 to 50% as my first target hits, and just that puts me in a good profit, and I'm now in green. I don't have to rethink too much. My emotions are now out of the window. I don't have to be too emotional about the stock, and it makes me comfortable holding. But at the same time, once I do that, I don't let the stock go against me in red. Sometimes I go overboard and I wait for my entry and I stop below my entry, which is mostly a minimum loss. But normally I shouldn't do that. I always tell myself this is one of the things I can't stop doing, and I just gave up on it. It's just stuck in my head. I just can't get out and profit if I scale out. the whole thing. Like I could simply just get out in a profit, even just break even. I always wait to go below my entry and end up being just a teeny red on the remaining of my shares instead of just taking profits on the pullback. And it's just something, it's bad. I know, and it's fine at this point. I stopped caring about it too much, but I don't let it go red. Like I wouldn't take the profit I made here on the 50% move and take that stock to the red to the point that I lost all my profits and now I'm in the red. So the most I'll wait for it is like below my entry by a little bit, but normally I will get out above my entry or at my entry. So like I only did 50% or 30 or whatever I sold at the point. That's what I made on the stock, which I could have made more. But yeah, you shouldn't do that. So try to avoid this. But this is something I just can't stop doing myself. So it's something bad. I don't do all the time, but I do a lot, honestly. And it's something I always tell myself I need to stop doing. But yeah, but scaling out over but you have to understand, scaling out works on stocks, not all the stocks. So scaling out is perfect on something like CRNC, but it might not be perfect on other places. It might not be perfect on something that's a quick pump and dump. That's something you also have to consider, like what stocks that you're okay holding and what stocks are not. If it's a quick pump and dump, it's a very low float, it's going so fast, I would mostly take higher scale outs at the beginning. I would probably take like 60%, 70%. I think I would say the last trade I think I did that in my head was NUKK when I did that, which was I scaled out I think over 60% of this play when I was scalping it on the first day, because I was a little bit on the heavier side. So I think it was here somewhere when we played it. I don't remember where, but I think it was either here. I think it was in this area here where I played it, somewhere here. And yeah, actually it was here, yeah, because I got out at 17 something. Yeah, so it probably was in this area here. But this I scaled out a lot in the first one. I didn't wait for it, I just scaled out. I was like, nope, not doing that. Yeah, I think it was here. Oh yeah, no, not here. Was it this one? No, not this one either. Oh, that's the second day actually. Yep, somewhere here. Yeah, I was here somehow. Yeah, I think I entered at the 9 something. I entered here, I think. Yeah, I think I entered somewhere here. I think I had like a 9 something average, 10 something average, somewhere here. And I scaled out. I scaled out like fast. Like I took like $2 or $3, something like that. And I scaled out, I think like 60, 70%. And I only had the rest. I even took some on the downside here. And then I had like something very small here. I think I took like 16 something. It was my last sell. But yeah. So again, it comes down to the stock, how volatile the stock, like, you know, especially if it's a low float or something up 300, 400, 500%. So your scaling out has to be like more kind of intelligent of what the stock is doing. Not every stock is the same. So know when to scale out more and when to hold less. So that's going to come down again, putting time in the markets, knowing that. But this is more easier. It's basically you have to know what the stock is. Is there news on the stock? If the stock is a pump and dump, definitely the scaling out should be much heavier. So you should be scaling out more on the first target and holding the rest, because you know it's a pump and dump. You might be getting an offering, something might happen. So you have to consider that. Again, that comes to the trade plan of knowing what you're doing before you're entering the stock. Because most people they jump in a stock and then they figure out, okay, my target should be this, my stop loss should be this, after they already entered, you know. Like how many times you see me, I'll be like, okay, I'm not gonna enter now because I see the stop loss so far away, so I need to start to drop a little bit, because I kind of have a stop loss in mind and I want to get close to my stop loss. If I enter here, my stop loss is much bigger than I need to. So you even see me sometimes like waiting for the stock to drop, because the stop loss I'm seeing before I enter is far away from my entry. So this means I'm going to take a big loss, which I don't want to do. And that kind of stops me from entering the stock. So that's something to also consider here, is that I'm looking at my exit And that's the first thing I look at. I don't even look at the targets. My first thing I always look at is like, if I take a loss, where I'm gonna get stopped in this stock, and it kind of puts my head, okay, that's how many shares I need to take. But people never trade like that. People look at, oh, I want to make $5,000, but you don't see the downside. I always look at the downside before the upside. So I always look, okay, if I enter here and I take 5,000 shares, I want to stop here. Oh, okay, no, I don't want to take a $2,000 loss. So either I'm gonna lower my size, or I'm gonna wait for the stock to pull back. Either one. But so it's either I'm gonna lower my size itself, or wait for the stock to pull back. But I'm not gonna enter here with this specific size. So that's also something to consider when you're entering a trade. Every trade is different, every stock is different, every movement is different. So you have to plan every trade differently. That's something to consider. Do you use a stop loss in all your day trades, or there are certain occasions when you don't? I normally don't use stop losses. Normally I use mental stop losses. I honor them most of the time. But for you guys, I would recommend using stop losses. But yes, you should use stop losses. But I only do it in specific stocks, or if I start scaling out and at this point I don't care, I start putting OCOs, which is basically a stop loss, or it's gonna be a stop loss with a target. So whatever comes first. So basically it's like one cancels another, and it's basically gonna be a stop loss or a target, whatever comes first. But yeah, once I start scaling out, normally after my first scale outs, I start putting my orders as OCOs. But again, that's not going to work pre-market. So that's something to consider. That's only going to work in market hours, because you don't have stop losses unless you want to do a stop limit in pre-market, which I wouldn't recommend doing. But yeah. Can you review break confirmation candles? Can you give me a stock you're looking at or something, so I can give you a better answer, like, or a specific time on a specific candle somewhere? Ed, thank you for this. Sometimes I need to hear the lesson a few times. All the time, man. I put these lessons in my head all the time. I talk to myself when I'm trading sometimes all the time. It's normal. You have to keep doing that. You have to keep yourself in check, man. The market is tough, man. It's very, very tough. Emotions are all over the place. The most important thing is emotions. So talk to yourself, always. Tell yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And that's what I do sometimes. Like, that's what stops me from entering. It's like, what are you doing? I stop myself, like, what am I doing? Why am I chasing? Don't chase. And I talk to myself, tell myself this stuff, even till this day. Even that I'm kind of more in control, it's still sometimes needed. Especially when you see people jumping all over, it kind of gets over you sometimes, even for me, but that puts you in check. So just tell yourself, talk to yourself, hey, what am I doing? No, I said I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this, If you mean about how effective scaling can be, just imagine you held overnight something like NUKK with even 10 shares for an extra 2,700 depending on it. Definitely had to do something. Exactly. And we didn't even go that far. CRNC, man, shit. 10 shares, you still made $100. You're waking up Monday with $100. That's not bad. That could be a target for somebody's daily goal. So, what are good entry indication a stock is a pump and dump versus all day runner? Well, very hard question, but overall for me is the catalyst. So, is there a catalyst or not? If there is no catalyst, straight up, it's a pump and dump. We don't even have to go through that. Again, what is the news? Some news are better than others, and I can't put this as a rule anyway, because sometimes the news is so fluffy and the stock just goes. So it's very hard when it comes to that, because in the end, the market, and that I learned from somebody, is like the market has its own mind. No matter how many times you try to analyze how good the news is or how bad the news is, or why the market is doing this, even as a whole market, sometimes you don't get why the market is doing this. Oh, this was good news. Why is the market tanking? Or why is the market going on bad news or bad data? So the stock market, you cannot really control. It has its own mind. But when it comes to news, some news are better than others. So I would be heavily going with the stocks that, like, this stock had the NVIDIA news. So for me, this was based on patterns that I see for 2024, that NVIDIA news stocks kind of move. Same as cancer news, same as specific news, they go. But it's not a rule of thumb. It could have just easily tanked. But I guess short interest algos add to it, and these are things we don't really see much. Forget the short interest that they throw at us in Fintel and all that garbage we see. It's not accurate. We don't know the specific numbers, no matter what people say or pumpers say. That we don't know the numbers. So this could have been easily shorted, which could have been, if you look at it from a common sense. But again, I think I told Rasa this. I was like, this stock was heavily shorted. It looks like it made a move already. So I don't know if it's still shorted or not. Because if you notice, yeah, if this move happened here, this could have been even more intense. But as you see, we've been on a heavy short side here for a while. So after we broke that, we broke the 17 or we broke the 14, it's just been on a heavy, you went all the way to $2. And if you look at this stock was almost 140. I don't know if they did a reverse split or not, but even if they did, it doesn't matter. From 140 to $2. So you know this stock has been heavily shorted. And so is it gonna bounce? Yeah, it can say. And I think even Trade Ideas was saying it's 20% shorted. I believe it was much higher than this, because this move is indicating that this was heavily shorted the way the algos have been going. So again, it is very hard to nail it down to answer this question, because some of them move. I mean, hey, we seen that pump and dump that went 1,000%. So no news, no nothing. So news is not always the case, man. It's just, again, it comes from stock to stock basis. It's very hard to know which one is going to go and which one is not. But I do have some news that I kind of like, which is patterns. For me, again, like I said, cancer news is very important. Some drugs are very important. And the trends. If you think about it, we had the AI trend all year, and anything that just put AI, slap AI on their news, it went. Or quantum, it went, you know. Same thing with the old, when we had the cannabis stocks, anything that said cannabis was going, anything at Bitcoin times, anything that said Bitcoin was going. So you have to follow these patterns, but overall, you're going to have to wait for the stock to react and see what the stock wants to do. And sometimes we see very good news and the stock will go 1, 2, 3 candles and just dump all day. When we think it's amazing news, and we see it as amazing news, but the market doesn't like it, all the algos decided that the big money decided they don't like it, and they just tanked it. So it's a give or take thing. Hard to put a finger on it, man. I just played based on every stock, and that's it. But there is no indications of anything. Again, for me, my indication was for this one was the NVIDIA news. NVIDIA stocks have been running lately. I've seen a lot of them, NNOX, APLD, and so on and so forth, SIUN. I mean, all these stocks that we've seen that had the NVIDIA news, they just keep going. But was that an indication? Yes, a kind of an indication, but I wouldn't have known that till it started moving. And again, I was waiting for the break of the 14. And once this happened, I was already down here, so it didn't matter at this point. But yeah, once 14 broke, it just kept going. But that was my indication. Could it have been a bad one? Yes, it could have. And I mean, if you notice in the beginning, and that's why I told you when it dumped, I was like, really, this is dumping on this news? Because I entered here. And I think, did I enter? I entered right here. Yeah, right here, 953, right there, this candle. And it went, and I was like, oh, nice. And I didn't take profits. I was up almost $1. I remember even Ed came out. Ed, I think, took his profits. Everybody took their profits, and I kept holding because I was like, oh, this news is good. This stock should go. And then when it tanked like this, I was like, how is it tanking like this? Like, you know, it didn't make any sense. If you remember, guys, I was sitting here. I was telling you, I'm thinking to average down. But it was against all my rules, and I did not average. Even that I trusted the news. But that shows you that even that I trusted the news, it's easier now to look at it and say, oh, that's a pullback. You could have just averaged down. But overall, when this was happening, I was like, what? And I have to think that I was down $1 here. So, yeah, when you're looking at it, it's easier said now when you don't see it. But now that you have it, you were down, for whoever entered here was down almost $2. So, I mean, if you had 2,000 shares, you're down $4,000 right here. I mean, easier said that, oh yeah, it's pulled back, look at that, it held at 13, blah, blah, blah. But in real time, when this is happening, you're seeing that big red going over and over and over and over. It's mentally, you could have been out. Most people probably got out. So it didn't make any sense. And I even told you in the live when we were trading this, I was like, I'm thinking to average down. There is something not right here. But even that I trusted the news and I thought the news is good, the market got me and I did not average down. I could have simply doubled down here. Hey, it is what it is. I made great money on it. I'm not going to go back to it. But that shows you that sometimes even that you believe the news is good, in the beginning, it might not be. So it's a very hard question. So, even for me to answer it, it's just, as you see, I mean, even me, I almost got stepped out, took a loss from being a win. And imagine I got out and this thing just went what it went. But I kind of stuck to my guts on this one with the loss, and it started going back, and I was like, okay, and it started going slowly, and I was in the green again, and I was good, and that was it. End of story here, and it is what it is. We went to $20. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, but there is no rule of thumb on this one. Let's see, CRNC 11:25 and 12 noon on Friday. Okay, 11:25. Let's see that 11:25. What's up with 11:25? This one here. What's up with this one? You're talking about this 11 to it's 11:25 Eastern, right? So you're talking about this one. What's up? So you look at this one. What's up with this candle? Is basically that this is a pulse here. This is nothing. This is basically uncertainty right there. This is algos for you, and it's uncertain. So it's almost the same wick, top and bottom, almost same body. So this is basically indicating that we're gonna get a move either to the top side or downside. But sometimes you see like they do like a lot of these back to back, and either it goes down or it goes up. But again, this is all algos. Welcome to the algos markets. In the old days, this would have meant something, but now it's just strictly algos. They're just doing inside trades here. So basically, if I was looking, I'm sure if I was looking at my trade zero and I'm looking at not the Thinkorswim time and series, if I was looking at the other time and series, like the more pro ones, this would have been all white, mostly all white, all inside and nothing else. So this was just passing shares inside. There was nothing. Why was there not any? Because this is nothing. I mean, this is really not confident. Like this stock had really no confidence. This stock was just slowly moving through the day. It wasn't going aggressively. It wasn't like the other stocks that are just going like, I mean, if you compare it to, let's say, MBOT, okay, MBOT was aggressive. Like the moves, these are confirmation breaks. Look at this. But this one didn't really have any, maybe here a little bit. But even on this, it was still going very slow. I mean, yeah, it's big moves. But I mean, it's now a pricey stock, $16 stock. So you're going, yeah. But you did not have these massive. So eventually this stock, when it did that big move here, or these two big moves here, or when it started making this one, it kind of pulled back. But overall, all this here, this was just algos, just trading slowly. And then one time somebody will punch in big orders, and that's what happened. And then algos will bring it back to the same, basically same average where they are holding the temp. It's kind of a tempo. So they're holding like a tempo, and they're just going. But once they break out of the tempo, that's when I start getting scared. Or this is what happened with MBOT, KITT. They will just keep going slowly. And then retail will jump in, and algos would kind of open the floodgates, and it would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very quick, and then it would dump. So with these here, I consider the tempo is very good for us, and as long as it keeps holding this tempo here. But none of these really had any breaks. And the other candle was at 12. I mean, 12, this is when algos actually basically took over. Oh, basically that's another one. There's nothing to it. I mean, if you go back, man, there is a gazelle. Look at this. You have one here. Here you go. You have one at 11:30. There you go. One here. It's all algos. They don't mean anything. They're just mostly inside trades, mostly. So there is a lot of influence of shares coming in and out, and they're all inside. So the stock is not really moving. So it's just printing the same number for a little bit, and it's like 1-2 cents, or depending how big was this. But normally it's like in the small stocks like 1-2 cents. This is probably like what, 5 cents. That's what, 7. What's the open close here? 02 and. Yeah, so open 02, close 06. Okay. So that was a 4-cent move. So they were stuck in a 4-cent move, basically. So basically somebody jumped in on a big order, and then they kind of stabilized it, like imbalance again, and it pushed it down, and then they stabilized it again in the 4-cent range, and it just stayed there. But yeah, it keeps just doing that. But this is nothing I would really like put too much emphasis on. Same thing I was telling Compose. I mean, you can't just go candle by candle like we used to anymore. This is mostly algos, mostly a lot of insides, so don't really bother too much with this stuff because it would drive you crazy. But the one I kind of like look for is the volumes. So if the volumes, sometimes I will tell you like, look at these algo moves here. Something is about to happen, and that's when you have these kind of same exact move back to back to back to back. Like you would see like 3-4 candles, all same volume, all same size, back to back. That's when I kind of piques my interest. But one to one like this, and one that changes, and one goes like this, and one changes. This I don't really bother too much. But once I see this, sometimes I even show you when we're trading live. I'll be like, watch these 3 algo candles back to back. You'll find like these 3 squares, no wicks or whatever, and then the 3 of them have the same volume. That's when I get worried. Okay, like something is about to happen here. But none of these really, none of these, like I would consider maybe this, maybe, but even now, I mean this, maybe I would consider this as a 1. But look at this is kind of the ones I talk about, but these are kind of not the same volume. But yeah, normally when you have like these, but look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost basically straight line. So, and then stepping pattern again. So basically this is imbalance. They're getting shares inside, and then bam, they start moving again, and then imbalance, moving again. And if you look at it, this pattern, you find that this pattern is just repeating the whole day, which is imbalance going up a little bit, imbalance going up a little bit, imbalance going up a little bit. And that's how algos trade. It is what it is. That's how the markets are. And if you think they're gonna get better, they're gonna get worse, and they just keep getting worse year after year. I just seen them from, if I go back, I wish if I knew what I knew now, like even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, before the algos became very extreme like this, it would have been a huge difference. But yeah, the algos just keep getting more extreme, much faster, harder to call, and yeah, it's just gonna get rougher by time though. Beside watching the SPY, do you ever look at the buying in when the tick is greater than 0? Yeah, I use the tick and TRIN, or sometimes what I do, I would just go here, which is, where is it? Market Watch. And I will go to, where the hell is it? No, I need to go to, what is it? Damn. Look at the wrong one. No, it is here. What is it? Damn. How to get the imbalance? No, I want that. Did they change it again? Ah, here we go. Oh. I will do this. And I will go for here and then go NYC and just see it here. That's how I look at it sometimes. But yeah, but I normally would look at the QQQ, SPY, NASDAQ, Dow, and that's about it. And you could either do with the NASDAQ, but I normally go for the NYSE, and I'll just go like this and see the advancing, declining, and see what's going on here. But normally that's how I see it. But you can do a tick too. I can do the TRN, but yeah, I do have, if you notice here, let me see. And I do have these here. And so if you see, I do have the ADD, VOLD, and I watch these, and I have the tick. But I don't really watch too much because I'm not into, like, we're not trading big caps, honestly. It's good just to know when the markets like start tanking, like really haul, like the couple of days we had last 2 weeks after the Feds. Yeah, that's when I'm gonna open these and actually look at these. But overall, like day to day, not really. I don't. It's not for me. If you think about it, it's not for us. For me, it's enough that for me, it's what is more important is that I watch the Russell, which is here, and I watch the Dow, SPY, and the NASDAQ. These are the main things for me, and mostly the Russell. I want to see the Russell at least green, in my opinion, because this is indicating that small caps are moving, which we are trading anyway. And every once in a while, I will change one of my charts on the other. I already have a SPY chart that I'm watching, and I would just flip the SPY to the maybe the NASDAQ or the root or whatever. But yeah, I don't go on the tick on daily basis because it's not really for me that much. because I'm not concentrating on playing big caps at the moment. So yeah. Heard you say a few times the spread is closing when all goes. Yeah, you would see this on level 2, man. Like you would see a big spread, and then you will do these kind of moves, and then the spread will kind of start closing down very fast, and they will just kind of control the spread. You would normally see this more on between the time and sales and level 2. You'll see that the numbers printing were so high, and then suddenly it kind of came in range, and they just kind of hold it, and you start seeing big numbers coming in. Lately, I've been seeing this number repeated a lot, which is 10,000. If you notice, like you're gonna see this number being printed a lot, and this is, he knows that algos are in control. You would see that 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, just printing, and you know that now they're kind of stabilizing the stock. But yeah, this number I've been seeing a lot, and I think it's a new number I've been noticing lately. It was different numbers a while ago. Now I've been seeing this 10,000, especially on the dump stocks. I see the 10,000 coming in heavy, and when this happens lately, I see like the stock starts tanking. So yeah, watch for the 10,000 for now. I keep seeing it, but I see this in real time, man. It's hard to explain in here, but this stuff happens in real time, and my eyes just picks it up in real time. Very hard to explain, like when the stock is not moving or nothing is moving. But yeah, you kind of see it, that the spread went so far out on the time and sales, and then suddenly it kind of like you will feel it, like they kind of put a stop on it, like somebody press brakes or the handbrake is on, and suddenly it just slowed down, and that's about it. Honestly, it won't become that of algo robots, everyone buying their own. Yeah, it is what it is. You can use that as well for looking for spread. I do use that. Yeah, you can use that, or I have this here, so I don't really need I have the bid and ask here, so you can have it here instead of, if you want to, on the charts. I know we don't have them here because like these two I don't, because I already have them here, but because this one I don't have one, or this one I have it on the different charts, but just to have it in front of me, I normally have the bid and ask and the spread here, so just to keep me. But you can use the Grexter one too if you want to. That's another option if you want to add the big buttons. And this, I think you have to go in here, open the layouts. It's gonna be on the side, and I think it's called big buttons, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you're gonna have to go and edit. So you're gonna have to go on customize grid and like sidebar. I think it's one of the, I think this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. No. Which one was it? I know it's one of them. I don't remember which one, but yeah. Nope, not either. I don't remember. It used to be an option. I don't remember. Maybe I'm mistaken or not, but I remember. I think it used to be something like that. Yeah, buttons. Okay, yeah. So okay. So maybe because I have the charts too tight, it's not showing. Okay. But yeah. What else? What else you need, guys? We all want to be Grexter. I know. Like Grexter is keeping his algo secrets. 2025 outlook. No, man. Honestly, I just want the next 2 weeks to just pass by until Trump gets in office and see what happens. I'm expecting, I'm talking to me and Sam about it, but we kind of expecting a pullback here. It's not going to be an extreme pullback, but I'm thinking the markets might pull back maybe another 7% to 10% overall, which is fine. It's healthy, actually. It's not a bad thing. It's actually going to be better to happen now, and then we grind through the year. But we're not going to really know much until the earnings season kicks off, with Tesla kicking off in end of January. So this January, this year is like heavy. You have Trump coming in office, new administration. We're gonna see if Trump keeps fighting with Powell, or what is he gonna do, like with the markets. Then you're gonna start the earnings season, and we're gonna see what the earnings are gonna be for the end of the year, of this year, basically. See what the numbers are, how the companies did. and that's gonna kind of decide what the overall markets would be. So for now, it's gonna be hard to predict. But again, I think we need a healthy pullback, a little bit of a pullback. We already had one. We're already in one, which is a good thing. And I'm thinking we're gonna get a bounce here, and maybe we're gonna get another pullback after that. But overall, I think the markets should be all right. I'm not thinking the markets are gonna end now. I'm thinking maybe in 2026 is when we're gonna start getting worried a little bit. But I think 2025 might continue on the same as 2024 kind of runs, which was expecting tech to be heavy again for now with AI, quantum, with Trump in office, and Elon Musk is there too. So yes, I think AI will be the theme again with quantum, and who knows what else is going to come in the picture. But I think tech is going to be in control of this year again. So that's my prediction for the year. We probably, the SPY SPX will probably hit the 6,500 to 7,000 range. That's what the expectation. I'm looking more at the 6,700 for the year. So it'll be another 10, 12%, 14%. So it should be another good year overall for now, unless something happens. A lot of is going on, again. First of the year with a new president, always tough call. If this was a normal year and Biden stay here, would have been different. I'll tell you, okay, markets are gonna be hot now with all the earnings coming in, blah 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 blah. But that's not the case. So we'll see. Give it some time. I would say at least for the next 2-3 weeks, be just more cautious until Trump gets in the office. I think that's what everybody's waiting for. I think that's what the money is sitting for now, to see what's gonna happen. So yeah, just be patient here, I would say. What do we need? Give me the next one key runners. We can we'll start talking 6,500 and SPX with things are yeah, they're all targeting the same thing. What do you think will happen this week with Nvidia? I'm not sure, man. You guys are asking for, you want me to predict the future here. I can't. No, hard to say, man. Nvidia has been finally coming back nicely, but we'll see. When is Nvidia next earnings date? 11/20, so that's gonna be what, February? Yeah, so still a little bit. Well, Nvidia, as you see, it's just, yeah, it's going. So will it continue going? Probably test the high. If Nvidia breaks that 150, I think you're gonna trigger a run here. Probably had some shorts scanning in, some puts in play. So yeah, Nvidia, I think waiting for that 150. So you're gonna have a 145 mark here to break. Once you break that, which you are very close to it. I mean, you're sitting at 145, which is insane. 144.99, like it's a discounting. So you're already breaking this little trend. Once that breaks, I think you're gonna start testing that 150, and 150 should take you. I think that'd be a massive move here. So yeah, don't forget Nvidia, Tesla are very volatile because a lot of retail keeps playing these damn ODTEs, and these stocks are going wild because of the ODTEs, and that's in a lot of stock. MSTR, this SMCI, like a lot of the stocks that are retail heavy, ODTEs in it. It's just all over the place. Volatility is insane. These stocks are all over the place because of that. So something to consider. How do you know when a stock is heavily shorted? I don't. Nobody knows. Unfortunately, this information is not available to us. No matter what people tell you with Fintel, Ortex, all this is rubbish. Because there is no obligation to actually say how much you're shorting a stock. And that's a weird rule that we have in the stock market. Is that these numbers they give to Fintel are voluntary numbers that basically they go tell them, okay, we're holding this. So they can tell them anything. I mean, they're not obligated to actually tell them the truth. So they can say anything. So they can inflate the stock as a short or inflate it as they are not holding any short. So there is no info for us to know. So there is nothing you can go. You can't go to SIC filing and see something. So unless somebody's shorted and they are saying they're shorted, but most of the time we don't know. Because most of the time these are either naked shorts, which are actually true. So they're not physical shares in the first place. So they cannot even declare it as short. So it is a whole science that we don't know anything about. So unfortunately, it's not something we know. So we will never know this info. So you can only look at a chart, and mostly from a chart perspective, you would look and be like, okay, this this stock has been just getting dumped and dumped and dumped and dumped. So I mean, there is no other way that it's not being shorted. So that's the only thing that I look at, was mostly the chart, and seeing if it holds its runs, or every time it runs it gets dumped. So that would be an indication of it being like heavily shorted. But yeah. But it's hard. Like, I mean, there is nowhere you can go and actually say like, oh, okay, this is the right number to being shorted. There is none. So unfortunately, I wish there is, but there is none. There is no rules. Again, the market works in the big money's favor, and that's why these guys keep naked shorting stocks, because they even if they get caught, they just pay a simple fine and it's over. But people take too much emphasis on these Ortex data and Fintel data when they're complete rubbish, in my opinion. And I just take it as an extra thing to add, but I never make my decision based on that, because I see a lot of pumpers be like, oh, okay, look at this stock, it's 80% shorted, blah 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 blah, and they're making the whole concept of the play on this number when it shouldn't be, because this number is probably 99% incorrect. So I never take a trade just based on the short data that I see on anywhere. This is just a reference, something to see in the back of my head, but I never make a decision based on that. Maybe Elon will get Trump to buy each America their own Teslas. I'm not sure. Yeah, but there are 20 times a year when a small contract can explode from 5. Yeah, we played one of those, me and Lunatic. It was a nice one. We got it for 50 cents to $28. Not bad. It's actually similar for stocks based on what I've seen, but much harder to stay on those. Yeah, CES shows this week, lots of pumping, especially if the news are good for me. I don't think CES affects the markets that much, especially the most rumors are already out. So, but yeah, I don't think like CES will move stocks as much unless like something crazy comes out. But yeah. Did anyone record the class? I'm recording it. Hopefully it's gonna come out good. I'm not sure if it's gonna be good or not. What is the best favorite 2024 swing play? Mine was Tesla. Oh man, Hardy, you wanted me to go through all of 2024? Oof. Oh, that's gonna be insane. I mean, RGTI was a great swing. I would say this was a good one. CAPR for me was a great one, amazing one. But these are gonna be my favorite two that I can get on top of my head at the moment. But I think we had a couple of really good ones. I can't even remember, but I would say these two are the ones up there. Trying to remember what else. Too hard, man. I see too many stocks every day. I'm kind of like, my brain gets fried when I start thinking about stocks now. If the chart is not in front of me, it's hard to even remember the tickers sometimes. I go through a gazillion stocks a day, so it's very hard. Got it. Okay. I'll check dark pools after the looks at the option contract, but it's best at first 30 minutes to check the contracts OI and the dark pool money to get a better idea. How do you know it's really heavily shorted? Ended the day up 1k%. Well, that's a good indicator there. So yeah, I thought I saw it into about checking something on option to gauge interest in a stock. I don't think. Yeah, it's basically what Freddie just said. That's a way to look at it. But again, the problem with these, in my opinion, is that they can be playing different kind of plays. That it can be showing us that there is a lot of puts when they are doing like a very advanced strategy that they might be actually on the call side, but they are covering their asses somehow. So again, I think this is a good gauge to look at, but you can't take this information for 100% because we don't know what advanced play they are playing here. Like, what are they buying against what they are selling in the options? Because these guys are very advanced when they are doing like advanced plays here beyond even my explanation in options. So that's something I learned from another options guy, is that I don't put too much emphasis on this because we don't know what's the end play for them. We can see the contract sizes, we can see the open interest and all that stuff, but we don't know what the play is. So we don't know if this is actually a short play or a long play, because we can't really know the inside and out of the actual play. All we see is just contracts. So it's just a gauge to look at. But again, it's not 100% accurate again. So you can't take it 100% of what you see. So that's something to consider also. With Trump relation with Musk, Trump could create 500 extra things. Yes, he can. RR was definitely mine. Thank you, Scorpio. NNE. NNE was a good one. The XYZ was a great one. Shit. The XYZ was a massive great one. Wish I bought in. ESDS was another good swing. It's still going. ESDS is also. Lunar too, yeah. We have high volume 150 contracts on calls. Watch those space and yeah, space. I think this year is gonna be space, robotics, quantum, AI slash, and these are gonna be the three main. So like I said, it's mostly tech, and if you wanna get into it, yeah, these are the three basically. So it's gonna be robotics, AI. I think VR might come back this year again. Virtual reality might come back for this year with everything going on. So it's something to also consider here. So yeah, it'll be somewhere in these. But yeah, robotics, space. Of course, space is a big thing. So I think everybody's like, all these space stocks are going nuts. And robotics for the same reason. But yeah. Cons, yeah, he means contracts. Cons is a contract. So. Business news said that Dodge could create a mobile app for text mining. Yeah. We don't know nothing about this Dodge too. That's what I'm saying. It's still too. We don't know how this Dodge is gonna work. We don't even know if Musk and Trump are gonna. You have to consider who you're dealing with here. Okay, Trump and Musk. I don't think they can stay close a lot, in my opinion, because they are both like stars in their own way, and Trump doesn't like competition. So I don't know how this relationship is gonna continue. You know, it might be another Scaramucci kind of thing where he came in for 2 weeks, they were best buddies, and it's done. So I'm not putting too much emphasis on this. I know a lot of people are, but I have to think what Trump is, how he thinks, and what Elon is, and how he thinks. And I think we're on a like trajectory for collision here. So I don't know how that is gonna go. So don't put too much emphasis on. That's why I'm like not putting too much emphasis on this, and I'm waiting to see what's gonna happen, because we know exactly. They're very two alpha males, and Trump, especially Trump, loves spotlight more than Elon Musk. But so if Elon goes against Trump in anything, it is gonna start creating this tension, and Trump is gonna start throwing these jabs, and Elon Musk, he's a guy that throws jabs back. So we're gonna like see it's gonna be fun times. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but yeah, don't take it too much, because again, we don't know how this relationship is gonna keep going. So I will put an emphasis on this. So yeah, VR augmented reality, yes. I think Trump boots Musk. Yeah, I think so too. Eventually, I think that's what's gonna happen. I mean, Musk, as you see, is already kind of blowing up on Republicans a little bit, like the hard Republicans. So he's already starting to throw jabs at Republicans themselves. So we'll see. But the thing is that these two are the biggest heads out there. I mean, Musk, his word moves a lot, and Trump, his word moves a lot. So it is gonna be crazy to see these two like bumping heads together, which I hope doesn't happen, but I think it's gonna happen. But it's hard to work with Trump. Trump is not an easy person to work with, so you have to consider that. So we'll see what's gonna happen with the cabinets, what people do. So we'll see. Too early. Musk is on a spectrum. He's not a calculating guy, as he is incapable of calculations. Why he shoots his... Yeah, and Trump is the same thing. So you kind of have two against each other here. So it's definitely going to be fun. We have high on calls and $10 on cons on NVIDIA and strike prices of 160. There are barely any puts on dark folders. Ricky, if Trump and GOP worked... Exactly. So a lot of unknowns here. So these are all things that can move the markets. So without us knowing any of this info, it is hard to predict what 2025 is going to bring us. But hopefully it's going to be good for everybody. We'll see what happens. But we'll see. Now they're saying there is a new virus coming in and all this nonsense. But yeah. General question, tell us how you control your losses when you're playing. It comes down to the same thing I said in the beginning, man, is that I kind of know my loss before I get in. So it kind of puts me in perspective of the loss I'm taking. So when it hits, I don't really freak out much and I just take it. Sometimes I would sit for extra 10 cents or so, take a little bit bigger loss, but eventually my loss is already in my head before I enter, and that's what I said is like, I know me, I will get in and I'll have a loss in mind before I get in. So knowing my size getting in, I kind of know the loss I'm gonna take before I even execute the trade. So when it happens, I kind of don't freeze or be like, oh my god, what is this, you know? So I kind of let it go. Sometimes I don't get out, like CRNC was a good example. I mean, my stop was definitely, I wasn't expecting to take this loss, honestly, but I stick to my guts on this one a little bit. Especially I was green, I was almost up a buck, and then suddenly I became down a buck. So it was just a weird one. But this one, eventually I had to stop like somewhere here in the like 9-10 to the 9 area, and it went so quick down there that I kind of froze for a second and rethought. I'm like, okay, am I gonna take? So sometimes it doesn't work my way, and I kind of like froze there for a second, but I only froze because I was like, I looked at the news again and I was like, did I read something wrong? Like, and then I read the news again and I'm like, okay, something is not right. And I kind of stick to this one just based on the feeling I had with the news. But most of the time I would get out. Especially if it's a pump and dump or something, I would have just taken the loss anyway. But this one I kind of froze because the news was pretty good and I was shocked that the stock dropped. So if that makes any sense. But normally I know my stop before I get in, or I kind of general know my loss limit. So when it happens, I don't freak out, and that's why that's why my size is based on my loss, and I don't go crazy with my sizes if my loss is going to be massive that I can't control it. So that's how I do it. But for you, Grexit, is different because you're scalloping, man. So, I mean, for you, if it turns against you, you're out right away. So, you're way different than mine. Mine, I'm looking for the smoother ones. You're looking for the quick scallop. So for you, it's like, if it turns against you, you should be out instant. You shouldn't be holding much. I see you sometimes holding when you shouldn't. Especially if you're scallop. You're trying to do best of both, where you're trying to hold, but you're trying to scallop at the same time. So don't be doing that. Where did you get to the black bog? That's me. The virus was reported during COVID. Yeah. Oh no! Don't do me like. What are the rules for a good swing trade? Oh, that's Ross's department, not my department. Don't forget, I don't normally swing these. I only swing things that I see that the stock is holding overall trend through the day. I don't see, preferably no open S3s or anything, so I'm not worried an offering is gonna drop on my face or something. I mean, this stuff we cannot control. If there is an offering coming, we will never know. So that's something normally, but I try to see if the company is like, are they in debt? How they're doing, and overall what the stock looks like. So if overall the stock is holding nicely, I'll just continue holding it. But again, I normally swing bigger stocks, but this is more of a Joss's department, so I would say this is a Joss's thing more than mine. But yeah, I mean, overall you have to see what the trend is doing, how the stock is doing, how is it closing, what is it doing after hours. Preferably you have to wait for after hours. I would say at least wait till the first hour or two, even till 7. I think the stocks for some reason between 6:30 to 7:30 is when they start moving again after hours, and that's when you kind of want to make a decision if you're watching these stocks. So the swings we kind of play are either these or either ones we pick up early based on news that didn't move. Like a good example would be WIMI. Thank you, Drossa, for this one, of course. So this was a great example of that, which is the news came out. We kind of went in early. And this one we actually did analysis to it. So this one we did not jump in We got the stock. We did heavy digging to it. I spoke to Sam. We ran the numbers. We looked at the numbers. We looked at everything. We looked at revenue. We looked at everything. Like we actually looked at this stock as if it's a long-term play. Like we digged very heavy into the numbers, and the numbers seemed very good, and that's why I jumped in it. So this was a good play based on numbers, not based on the chart really much, but it had news and the numbers were good, so we jumped in. So it depends how you play it, honestly. We're all learning, Rexter. You're not the only one, man. We all learn. I learn every day. You don't think I sit here and learn something new every day? I see stuff I never knew. If you're going to learn and you trade options, go check out option strats. They have 15-minute delay option and like, okay. My general rule, recent news, I think will continue. It's following trend, holding a level, curling up on a longer time frame, and then it take position, leaving some room to average down. All right. Kind of Drossa give it there too. You're welcome, Grexter. Except country, China, yeah. You're welcome, Elsa. But I did 1 hour long class on it. I'll probably do another after a bit. Anyhow, how do you get all your knowledge of financial markets, theories, trading, risk management, schooling, or experience over here? I'm all self-taught, Jim. I got bounced from all the RJs out there and all the scammers out there, and I didn't learn nothing from them. Mostly you would hear good things here and there, or a word from this guy and a word from this guy, but what put me on this track is just me, just going through everything, learning everything. Even Sam went through the same cycle, but Sam went through the long-term cycle and I went through the day trading cycle, and that's why we both like mix and match together. But he put his time in learning, digging into companies, knowing everything inside and out about companies, which is not my expertise as much as him. Like I learn from him as I go, but he's more like, if he come and ask me, I want this long, what do you think? I'll tell you, go to Sam, because Sam is better than, so I'm good at what I know and he's good at what he knows, but it takes a long time. Like Sam put hours, like what we do in day trading, Sam did it in the long term. So it just putting time, reading. Sam reads a lot of books, listen to a lot of podcasts. I used to do the same thing, and I used to watch a lot of YouTube, and I would just look at different people and kind of see what they are saying, do my own concept or learn something from them that maybe it's not right, and then I'll go digging into it or looking into it, see if it makes sense or not. So it's mostly just putting the time, effort every single day. What you guys see me doing here every day with you, sitting here, I've been doing this for over 10 plus years, daily, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, including studying. If sometimes I'm putting 12, 13 hours. Even at work, when I was at work, I'm sitting at work, I open my laptop, I have my laptop for work, and I have my laptop, even if I'm not trading, I'm looking at stocks. So that I was putting so much time, and that's why I'm telling you, sometimes I see these patterns, and that's just of all the years I've just been doing it. So you're gonna have to just keep digging into it, reading. I always read, I always look at different YouTubers, I always look at different things. So I don't keep my mind set on something. I always try to learn something new. If I see something new that I don't understand, I'll either look for it or go read about it or do something. But yeah, it just takes time. You always have to be better, getting that extra edge. So just keep pushing yourself, just keep trying to learn more, and that's it. Just keep moving forward. Yes, you can download your knowledge, and I wish, man. I wish. Self-taught college, you generally lose a lot of money to learn all the tricks. That's the tuition fee, guide limit. Exactly, yeah. I mean, I lost gazillion things. Blew up many accounts, gazillion accounts in the beginning to get what I am today. So it is what it is. But it's a process of learning. I did not have me. I mean, I can give you everything I know, like I always do. I don't hold anything back. Everything I know, I tell you guys. I try to explain everything in baby steps. I want you all of you to succeed. I see a lot of you already succeeded, and I'm very happy with that. But I share everything I know. But again, no matter how many times I share, no matter how many hours I put with you guys, the 60, 70 hours we put together every week, you're still gonna have to put your own time. If you don't put the time, no matter what I say, because it's a process that you have to control yourself, and controlling yourself takes time. No matter how much I teach you, again, emotion takes over in trading, and if you cannot control your emotions or you cannot stick to your thing, then that's the problem. That's what's gonna take you the most time, is just controlling your emotions. Knowing when to enter, when to step back, when to take profits, when to get out. Just take the loss and just control these emotions day in, day out, day in, day out. That's gonna be the longest thing you learn. That's not something you can read in a book. That's not something you can listen to. That's something that's gonna take you trial and error, until you find. And that's why I'm saying, like, you need to trade in your comfort zone. And once you go out of your comfort zone, you start losing, because that's what happens. People get very, I don't want to say it, but I mean, good example would be Heather. Again, as always, she played these options. She get a little cocky a little bit, or she got some confident boost, and then she decided to go so big, she blew up 2 weeks of work in one trade. So that's what happens, and that's how we all go through it. So yeah, just stick to your lanes, stay in your emotion boundaries, so you can be in control. Once you lose control, you lose the trade, you end up being in a loss, you end up averaging down and saying, oh my god, what is this, what is that, oh, I'm now down this much, okay, I need to average down, it is coming back, and you end up getting in a stock that never comes back for your own luck. And then you blame luck, or you blame the brokers, or you blame this, or you blame that. But it's one thing to blame. It's just you lost control and you just couldn't get back in the game, and that's how it is. And that's something that's gonna take you time, guys. No matter how many times you read, no matter how many books you read, or videos you see, or whatever, these things are gonna take you the most time. Just keep grinding at it. I hope that answered your question, Jim. But yeah, that's all I have to tell you about this. Bravo, I noticed that you're using the new TS option next to your account. Is there possible? Please click on it. You can add. Yeah, you can add here stocks now if you want to, but I don't really need to, because I already have my watch list and I have these here. So yeah, I want to, because I need to be running more RAMs or taking anything already. It's heavy as it is. They're just sitting, watching, learning anytime I have time. Yes, trading is non-stop schooling. I learned every week a bunch. Yeah, you can run dog boarding school, don't you? Where I live, NSC has very good broad knowledge about the market and the day trading specialty, how the ticker move and what moves them, how to approach them, and what to look for from very good stuff. Any thanks for sharing. You're welcome, Gregster, and I hope you come do your class, man. Dog boarding, okay. Yeah. Freddy, I just added ES and SPY, but I don't know what this is for me. I click on the symbol, nothing happens, they just sit there. This is just a symbol, lunatic. You just add like Tesla here, and when Tesla is moving, it's just gonna be the number, and it's showing you the percentage and how much is up. It's just like a watch list, and you can add as much as you want. You can add the ES if you want to, and it's just showing you, but the ES is closed, it's not moving, so it's just, but yeah, this is basically, think of it as a watch list but up here. So yeah, I definitely don't want that. I don't know how much is taking out of resources. I don't need it, honestly, because I can just simply just do this, bang, and I have my watch list, and I don't have to do anything. So building your self-confidence is the key. Wins and losses are the same, just one is a winner and one is a loser. Understanding why is critical. Yes, exactly. You all take losses, guys. I mean, that's something you have to put in your head. I know people, it's hard to take that loss, but it is, you don't sit on a, you don't sit on a blackjack table and just win every hand. You lose some, win some. It's the name of the game. Minimize your wins, and know when the shoe is, when that shoe is hot, that's when you start adding more and playing bigger. And it's the same concept I take for the markets. When the markets are hot, that's when you take bigger sizes, taking more risks, doing double down, doing splits, doing all kinds of stuff here. So yeah, you wait for that shoe to get hot and you trade. Once the shoe cools down, you drop your bids to the minimum, do smaller sizes, stop losses tight, stop losses, take your profits earlier, and that's how it is. Again, I look at trading as two things, either fishing or gambling, but you don't go fishing every day and catch fish. You can sit there, be patient, wait for maybe you go, when it was high seas, you couldn't fish nothing. You couldn't even go fishing today at all. So, I mean, it just takes patience here. Patience is very, very important key. Know when to do what and when not to do it. And by time you'll learn that. That's not something I can teach you either. You will know, you will feel it. You will know when the markets are hot. We all know when the markets are hot. You will see it. And for now, we're not. So just keep it slow and steady until we get there. No book can tell you about yourself. You have to learn about yourself on your own. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. You're welcome, Jim. They will move once it's open. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. I'm going to use that. Reason they added is because the old timers from Charles Schwab were moved from the old system to the US, so they okay. All right. Anybody else has any more questions here for me? Yeah. Yes, you can. Yeah, I'm not gonna read that. All right. Anybody has any more questions before I go? You're welcome, Mario. Anytime. Thank you. Even though I'm taking Jim's name, but it's okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Love you all, guys. Thank you. And I hope everybody's gonna be profitable this year. And I hope I see more of you crossing this line. I see most of you cross the line. Some of you are right there at the line. And I think most of you should make it this year. And I'm proud of all of you. I'm happy from where I took you before to where you are now. I see a huge difference, a huge change. A lot of you are at least knowing the basics here and stop listening to the garbage. So that's a good thing, and I'm happy for that. So yeah. Thank you. It was good to get your insight. You're welcome. Hey, I'm Jim. Yes, you are. Almost at the line. You're past the line, my friend. You're on a different planet here, but all good. All right. I love you all. Thank you all. And I'll see you all tomorrow at 4 a.m. All right. Peace.